In this video, we're going to fix an issue that is causing our character to wobble and jiggle and bounce and do all sorts of crazy nonsense. So let's get started. So you guys might remember that in our last video that you and I had together, my character was doing all sorts of crazy bouncing and jumping and jiggling up here. I'm not sure if you've been seeing it in Ben's level, but it's definitely been happening in here. So what I'm going to do is move my character up to the top of the level where we definitely saw it. And you know what I'm going to do, just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to move him straight to that guy by finding this guy's coordinates is 30, 10, minus 63. So go over to the player and type in 30, 10, minus 63. There we go. So you guys don't have to look at me slowly drag him. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. I drag him and move him around and push and pull. Eventually he gets up there. So let me see if I can reproduce the issue. And I know a few of you have been talking about it on the forums. There it is, bounce, jiggle, a little, and also, the other thing I'm seeing is when the enemies follow me around, it's when we're having combat, there's a lot of that wobble you can see just there. It's very frustrating, doesn't look so good. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but things like this, where the guy's on his invisible motorbike, see that? He's chasing me down the hill. That's really fun and really cool, but it's not exactly the behavior we're looking for at the moment. So if you're starting to show people your build and have them play it, they're going to be like, why is that dude doing his flying motorcycle in a really dumb American accent? Sorry to all you guys out there that have American accents. I shall do better next time. So that's our challenge to fix these guys. So a couple of things. One, so we don't have this weird bounce jump stuff going on. And here's a bit of a hill that I can simulate this on if he's going to do it properly. I walk down, there it is, jump, skip, jump. So that's one thing. The other thing is the enemies on their invisible motorcycles. And then the other thing is and I'm not even going to be able to get back up here. The other thing is when we have close combat and we find that all the characters are kind of doing that close wibble wobble action going on. So what I'm going to tell you guys is that if you look at a couple of areas on the player, so we've got mostly the third person character script and the nav mesh agent. These are the two places we're going to find, I think, the solutions to our challenge just here, because what you are going to do now is, here's your challenge, is tweak the movement so that there is no hopping. That was the bouncing that the player had. So that there is no combat jitter. It's when you're getting close, they kind of swing left, right, left, right, left, right. And also that there's no enemy gliding on their invisible motorcycle. So that's a challenge for you guys. Thought I'd give you a chance to dive in before I poke around and show you what I'm going to do. So you have a chance to fix it yourself. You may not have seen it in your build, in your level, in your game, but have a go at tweaking it if you have, and have a look and see if you can figure out what those elements would be that would cause those things. And I'll see you in a moment. Okay, and welcome back. Let me show you. So as I said just a moment ago, that you might not have seen this yourself in your level, but if it comes up, it's great to know what's going on. And if you have seen it and you've been cursing me, Rick, why is this happening? Then you'll know how to fix it. So what I have done, the first thing I found that was super useful was to go to the player and to change their ground check distance. So I played around with this, and usually the way I do this, I'll give you a little insight into how I've already found the numbers, because I've been playing around with it before I started talking to you guys. So I tried, let's see, 0.5 and see what that does for the ground check distance, because it seemed to be something to do with this mechanism of when the character jumps and falls. That seemed to have a good effect. Actually, you know what I did first of all? I tried turning a few of these things on and off. The capsule collider, I tried that. That didn't seem to have a big impact because I turned it off, ran around, and had the same symptoms as if it was left on, as well as the nav mesh agent, and I did that and he just didn't move at all, so that wasn't it. Then I finally stumbled across the ground check distance. So I found that a value of 0.5 was mostly good, but when I pumped it all the way up to 1.0, I should say, I didn't have any issues at all, and I ran around for a whole bunch of time. That seemed pretty clean, checked it pretty well. That helped a lot. So that's basically, we've got a bit of a weird character situation. We're using the standard asset Ethan animation at the moment, and in that there's jumping and there's ducking and all these things that we're not using in our game, and it's causing it to go a little bit crazy. Speaking of crazy, Ben Tristan, what's going on here? Did anyone else notice that at the end of Ben's last video, all of a sudden our character, our mild-mannered farmer, is this mean-looking dude with a hoe in each hand? Look at that. How cool is that? So my first reaction was, whoa, that looks cool. Look, he's going to mess some dudes up with that. He doesn't kind of swing. He's still doing his jitter. That looks... Okay, he's beaten them to a pulp there. But you know what? I kind of like it for now. It's sort of a bug in a way, because Ben just applied his changes to the player, and then in my scene, we've got the left-handed guy, and he had the right-handed guy. I'm going to leave it for now, because it kind of looks cool, and we'll make a decision whether we like it later on. Maybe this is a later game. You get to have dual-handed. You're dual-handing your hose. Okay, if that makes any sense. If you guys aren't sick of my hoe jokes just yet. Okay, invisible motorcycle guys. Let's have a look at you. Now, if it worked putting my ground check distance at 1, let's see what happens when we do that for these guys up here. Put his ground check distance to 1.0 or 1 if you don't want to type the 0.0, and Unity's like, dude, you don't need the 0.0. What are you doing there? 1, and we'll put this guy manually. We could apply that other guy to the prefab, but for now we'll just do this and make sure this works. Okay, in a way I'm a little bit disappointed to lose the invisible motorcycles, but let's have a look here. Or maybe they're on their invisible unicycles. If you guys have heard Ben's TED Talk, he talks about his unicycle. It wasn't invisible, but cool nonetheless. Looks like there's a little bit less invisible unicycle action going on here. And down the hill, that's the big test. Look at that, smoothly running down the hill. Okay, I'm going to declare that a momentary success until we find another situation where it doesn't work for them. And thanks to a couple of you guys on the forums have pointed out that if we tweak the moving turn speed of these enemies and the player, let me start with the player, they're too high at the moment. It's causing us, these turn speeds mean when I click, let me just show you what's going on here. When I click, there's a pretty fast response. He turns around straight away. And the stationary is if I'm just doing it from a stopping point, and the movement is if I'm currently moving. It's not too bad. I like the quickness of that response. So played around with some values here and deduced that halving these on the player still leaves, and I tried a whole bunch of different values, higher and lower, but that still leaves the turn not too bad. And our guy's not a superhero, so having it a little bit sluggish is good. The one thing I wanted to avoid was when you click here to move over that way, so you click here, and then he takes a long time to kind of slowly turn around. I think that's very frustrating. You want to see a fairly immediate spin, even if there's a little bit of ramp up in animation. You don't want to feel like it's taking forever to do that. So I'm going to make that change there to him, and we'll make the change here, don't kill him yet, to red guy. Oh, killed him. Okay, let me go and change it when I'm not in play mode. And obviously I have to go back in here because it won't keep it there. And ground check distance didn't keep it either there. You guys paying attention were like, Rick, make sure you save that. Okay, over here we'll change this to 1800. Sorry, yeah, 1800 and 900. They seem to be the values. You guys can change it down even lower. And if you came up with values that aren't the same as these ones, no problemo. That's good. Whatever works for you in your particular game, you might want them to look a particular way. That is great. No problem at all. Just put in some more of these values. Then I'll do a little test on this. We'll apply some of these back to the prefab, and then I'll go in and change all of the enemies so that we have the same values. So he's feeling pretty good when we come up here. Okay, there's a little bit of their turning okay. Now, I haven't fixed the jittering, have I? I've fixed that they seem reasonably well behaved with their movement, but what is going to fix the player jittering, you might ask, and you've probably already solved it if you did the challenge well, is I've found the stopping distance. So what he's trying to do is get up quite close to the enemy, so we'll move him over here to pretend he's having a little bit of combat. So when he comes over here, and then you can see the collision as he tries to get even closer to this enemy, the colliders are stopping him. So it's like, I want to get closer, I can't, I want to, I can't. So if we, how's that for a good simulation there? Very technical. Now, if we go down to his, I lost it, I had it there a second ago, his stop distance. It's going to be down the bottom here, scroll down. Okay, I found that a value of 1.3, particularly if he's got these long-range weapons here, these long extender hose, then I found that was a pretty good amount to have for when he runs up. Then see how there's no jitter. There's no animation yet. He's not actually going clunk, clunk, but that all those values combined for me, with my little play around there, has made a much smoother combat experience. So there's not hopping and jumping and bouncing and wobbling and stuff that we had before. Still need to have a hit animation. Still need to have them facing the enemy that you're attacking. Oh, that guy had his invisible motorbike because we haven't applied those values to him yet. So what I'm going to go in and do right now is change those other enemies with those values that we've got here. You guys can do the same thing at the same time if you'd like to do that. or you can sit there and watch me while I do it. Okay, I'm going to do the guys that I've already found. I'm going to apply that back to them. Wonderful. It should apply all those things. Let me just see the purple guys here. We'll find if there's any other purple guys in the scene. Should be some other purple guys way down yonder. That's a house over here. There's a purple guy. Now let's see what's his values. We've got 18 and 900. Yes, ground check 1. Perfect. So he's been applied. Go in here, we'll find this guy as well. Same values, 1800, 900, and ground check of 1. And that's pretty good. Stopping, see, they've got longer stopping distance, incidentally. Very cool. I'm not going and doing it wholesale by copying components and pasting it on, because there might be differences for these different guys that we don't want to accidentally destroy. So there'll be a ton of those. So we'll just do it straight in here. Ground check 1. That is good. And their stopping distance. You know, I haven't played around too much with the different stopping distances. Maybe they already had a bigger... Yeah, I think our enemies already had a big 1.5 stopping distance. So that's why they're not doing that same jiggle that we're seeing on the player character. And who else have we got in our scene? We've got our knight over here. Make sure he's all good. Now let's see. 1800. 900 is cleaning this up. Ground check of 1. And have I missed any? I've got the heavy soldier, yes. Knight, yes. Minion, yes. Better apply these changes. Regular soldier, yes. Thug, where are our thugs at? We had some over on the overpass over here. There they are. Our thugs. G'day, boys. How you doing? And we'll change them as well. 900. Nice and manual, so I know I've caught them all. Not skipping anything. Okay, that feels pretty good. I think I've got all of them there. Archer, yes. Healer, don't need to. He doesn't move. Enemy soldier, knight, Okay, it's pretty good. So hopefully, and we'll save that, hopefully you guys have found the same thing. Hopefully you didn't have any jitter in the first place, but if you did, that should fix it. Thanks to you guys who have been contributing in our discussion sections in our discussions to let us know that you found those values. I've been looking at your comments and that has helped me immensely. And I will see you guys in the next video.